the next thing that you brought up was sexy, gendery, race stuff.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what is wrong with teachers talking to my child about who they want to sleep with?
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
is that a good way of asking that question?
I guess that's a good way of asking the question.
Okay,
what's wrong with that?
Again with this one, like evolution.
Okay,
so they go to school,
right?
They learn about correct terms, homosexuality, transgenderality, and all the other ones.
Okay.
When they get home, just tell them that's wrong.
Right. Okay. I think
I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess the question is for taxpayers.
Okay.
What are we actually sending our kids to school for? Okay. I want them to learn math, right? I want them to learn history. Okay. And we're going to get into the race stuff with history in a little bit. Okay.
All right.
Because I think we have to discuss that. And so you learn how to read and to write and to, and you learn about science and everything else. And so my point is what we're not sending kids to school for is to receive an ideology. Okay. So the same way that I'm saying that we shouldn't push prayer and we shouldn't push Bible readings on kids.
Okay. But we should offer it.
You can offer it.
So you can offer, come learn about who you want to have sex with.
Well,
classes.
Okay. If and I would say there's age appropriate levels for all of this.
Okay.
Right. So if I'm in high school and the high school is offering an elective on gender studies, right? Okay. Now we can discuss, is that the best use of resources and time for a high school student? But if you're offering that, okay, you're offering that. If kids want to go to that,
if that had been in high school, I would have taken it.
You'd have taken it. You'd have been there.
I'd have been there every day.
I know.
I'd be giving the teacher apples and.
Yeah, you'd also been a pain in their neck.
This is a Steve's apple. I would have been so annoying in that class.
I was going to say,
I would have asked questions the whole time.
Yeah, they would have absolutely hated
That would have been so much fun. Oh man, I missed out.
You did.
Born too young. Old.
Yeah, you're old. So I think if you're going to offer things, sure, offer things as electives, okay? Mm-hmm. But here's in kind of getting into some real talk here, like especially like elementary, middle school level, there's not need to be discussions on sexuality, on gender, on because these are big issues, and so I think that there's, when we talk about same-sex attraction and gender dysphoria and all those kind of things, like these are big topics and big issues that I don't think that teachers should be bringing up in their classrooms with elementary age kids or with middle school age kids.
Why is this? This feels more offensive to Christians than even evolution seemed when I was growing up.
Oh, 100%.
Why?
100%.
What's the difference?
Because I think at the core of this, at the core of it, is what seems to be an agenda. Not seems. There is an agenda. Let's call it. I'm going to call it for what I see it as.
Okay.
An agenda to sexualize our kids.
Okay.
An agenda to cause our kids to question their very identities at an age where they're not actually cognitively able to do that.
Okay.
So with my background in child and family development, and I'm talking about the cognitive developments of kids, kids are not able to even have those conversations. They're not able to cognitively wrap their heads around it. And so I think that becomes the issue for me. Now, there's a space and a time where same-sex attraction, questions on gender need to be had. So I'm not discounting it, but I'm just saying I don't think the public school system is the arena, the sphere for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like it's not the arena or sphere for
prayer to be pushed down on people or scripture to be. Yeah. I just think we have to what is the purpose of school?
So if all of this stuff was a elective class in high school, you'd be fine with that.
If it was all an elective,
you'd send your kids to public school.
Yeah. If this was an elective class, okay, and I'm going to be honest about it. Mm-hmm. Would I be jumping up and down, thrilled about it? No. Okay. However, I'd rather it be in an elective class like that than being a topic of discussion in their math class.
Okay.
Where I mean, and I think that to be fair, and I do think this is the problem with doing this kind of stuff, is it's hard to have objective or not. It's hard to have that conversation with just one teacher who's coming at it from one way, with one lens. In other words, what I'm saying is, if you're going to have a gender studies class,
yeah, you'd need teachers from every gender.
Otherwise,
you're not getting the full experience of the class.
And you would need teachers with different perspectives.
Yes.
To offer the different.
Because it's all about perspective.
Yes. So, I don't know. I think I would say that I think that most of these conversations should be happening with families and parents at home. And I get the argument that not all parents are having these conversations with their kids. Mm-hmm. I'm not living in a bubble. I understand that. And so, but I just don't think that, again, early on, it's not healthy. By high school, especially by the time kids, are 16, 17, 18 years old, those last couple of years, I would love if actually there was a class on, hey, let's talk about, this is going to be a class on intersectionality.
Okay.
Which is going to include all the things we're talking about. Okay. We're going to have a class on intersectionality. It's going to talk about gender. It's going to talk about sex. It's going to talk about race. It's going to talk about religion, so on and so forth. We're going to have a class on this, and you're going to get to hear from various teachers their perspectives on this. And then we're going to have discussions.
I mean, that sounds like college.
Yes. It actually will prepare them to go to college where they will go into a gender studies class, but they won't have multiple teachers teaching that class. You're going to have one teacher that's going to be teaching that class from one perspective. Well, wouldn't it have been healthier if you already had a framework of what they're going to be teaching, but already been exposed to various levels or various perspectives on that topic?
Since elementary school.
Since high school, Nate. And, and I think we're just missing just the basic fundamental stages of development for kids. Okay. Like in elementary school, we're just wanting to give them facts. And a lot of it is memorization, to understand, all right, well, what state do you live in? Where's the capital? How many states are there in America? That kind of basic stuff. Learning how to read, learning how to write, learning how to spell, vocabulary. There's what's called in classical education, it's called the grammar stage. To teach that. Then you move them to logic, and they begin to learn logic. Hey, this is the way a syllogism is formed. This is the way that I can go from premise A to premise B to a conclusion. This is how I discover fallacies within the world of syllogisms. And so all teaching kids how to logically think. And then by the time they get to high school especially in that 10th, 11th, 12th grade years. Then now we're not just learning how to think logically, but we're learning how to discuss logically, write logically. And so you're not just learning how to just break down a syllogism or form a syllogism. You're learning to hear from other people giving a logical argument and then be able to interact and discuss in that way. And I think that's what we're missing from high schools, because now there's no critical thinking hardly ever taught. That should be a class. Learn how to critically think, learn how to do logic on just learn how to do basic formal logic, learn how to do material logic, like to learn these things. And then by the time if kids go to school, if they go to universities, they go to colleges, they're already prepared to engage in the discussions that are going to be had on campus. And I think, unfortunately, we've got a lot of kids going to colleges, hearing things, not knowing how to critically engage with it. And therefore, they just take things just at face value or reject it at face value for whatever reason. And instead of going, okay, well, what's true there? What's not true there? Right? And so that's my broader issue.
Okay, well, I hear you.
Yeah.
But what I think is that you're just afraid that your kid is gay. So what do you think about that?
Why would I be afraid that my kid's gay? And what would that have
You just went on a whole big old long thing about your kid trying to be smart and critically think and whatever. Right. But I think that you're just afraid that your kid's gay.
That's just not true at all.
And I think you're afraid that the teacher is going to be like, hey, you might be gay.
Right.
And the kid's going to be like, yeah, I might be gay. And then he's going to tell you that he's gay and you're not going to like that he's gay. And then you're going to kick him out of your house for being gay.
What?
That's...
Wow. That's a house of cards of assumptions.
So what do you say to that?
I'd say false to all of it.
Okay.
No, I think this is probably the broader issue for me. It's like, I think that's the quote unquote concern that's what's said about Christians. Well, you're just afraid.
Yeah.
You're just afraid. No, it's not that I'm afraid. It's that I don't care regardless of religion. I don't care regardless of what you believe. I think there's just proper things that should be taught at a proper age.
Okay.
By the right people.
Okay.
At the right time. That's all I'm saying.
So what you're saying is that public school are in this area are probably not the right people teaching your children at the right time.
Yes.
Okay.
Not this stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And if this was an elective class in high school, I'm more open to it. Than if it's taught by multiple teachers from different perspectives. I'm more open to it than I am
in math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Sally has 4 genders.
Right. I mean, there's even now a movement within mathematics that's labeling it oppressive. Because it gives right and wrong answers.
Right.
And so this is kind of the extreme version of critical theory, which all the other theories are under. So when we talk about queer theory or gender, studies or critical race theory, it's all under the umbrella of critical theory. And critical theory takes the world and divides the world up into oppressors and oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that, those are the two groups. And so if math, and so what I'm getting to with this is, so with these two groups, you're either an oppressor or you're an oppressed based upon your race, your sex, your religion, your gender, how you identify yourself within these spheres.
Or what answer you got for number 5.
Yeah. And what they're saying is about math is, well, that math was created by the oppressed with clear, distinctive right and wrong answers, or by the oppressor, with right and wrong answers, and therefore needs to kind of be rejected at hand. And so that's like, again, extreme part of this, but critical theory. And I think that's where most people don't understand kind of what's happened in all of this. So critical theory is trying to reduce people into these two groups, like you're either this or you're this. And again, I brought up earlier, it's an attack on identity, on who you are. And if I'm reducing identity down to just, I'm the color of my skin or the gender that I identify as, or if I am male or female, if I'm cisgender or non-binary, and, like if this is how I'm being like reducing my identity down to these basic fundamental things, like that's terrible. Like you're so much more than that. You're so much more complex than that. And I think that behind...
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're just a simple...
Yeah.
I know. I mean, but you're
so boring.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just because you're an oppressor. You don't know any better.
Oh,
And
I
so,
am?
yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, you're the... Yeah, man, you're white.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
You're white. You forgot you're white? You're white. You're a male. You're a Christian. You're college educated.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're cisgender.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you're straight.
Oh, I'm so straight, too.
Yeah, you're such an oppressor.
Oh. Well, cool.
So,
I got to live my identity.
Yeah.
And my truth.
That's right. It's your truth.
It's going to be the best oppressor I can be.
God, people are going to hate you. But from that, then the goal is in these two categories of oppressor or oppressed. Then the goal from that point is to say, all right, those of us who are oppressors, you and I, both fully oppressors, high five on that.
Hit the microphone.
So, we're both fully oppressors. And so in light of that, what we need to do is become awakened. So the idea of, like, you've heard the word woke, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just the slang term for like.
Oh, that's what that means?
Yeah. It's like,
wow.
I'm becoming. Yeah, exactly.
I get it now.
You just had an awakening moment, didn't you? And so to become awakened to the fact that you're an oppressor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And that was me realizing it.
That right there.
Oh.
You had a moment of being woke.
That's awesome. That's what everyone's talking about.
That's what everybody's talking about. So now you're woke.
Wow.
You're
Brave new world. The future looks so something.
Probably look terrible now. Yeah. But anyway, so you've been awakened to the reality that you're an oppressor. So now under that reality, now you can become an ally to the oppressed. But to be very clear, you do not have a voice. You cannot speak on behalf of them even, because only those that have that lived experience have the authority and the voice to speak. So you can be an ally by showing your support to them, by denouncing your oppressorhood, by confessing you're a racist and a sexist. Okay? And that you've been an oppressor. Okay?
Future's not looking too good.
See, I told you. Yeah. And so you become an ally with them.
Why can't they do the same thing?
Do what?
They're never going to understand what it's like to be an oppressor.
No, well, actually,
they are never going to understand. But the day-to-day goings-ons of an oppressor.
Oppressor and how easy it is. I don't know. Hard. Is it tough?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So for the last minute and a half that I knew about it.
And so
you've only said negative things about me since then.
And so you're an oppressor.
It's been pretty bad. I'm beginning to not feel like an oppressor.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's actually good.
I'm feeling kind of oppressed.
Okay. You're starting to be able to identify with them.
Did we just figure out the whole thing?
Yeah.
This is why people don't want to send their kids to public school?
Yeah, pretty
Episode
much.
Done. Time to go be oppressed.
And so,
wow.
But then I
feel like I've cocooned. Or uncocooned.
Uncocooned.
Yeah.
You come out.
Yeah.
You've gone through the chrysalis process,
right.
And now you're
I don't know what that means because I've never critical theoried before.
You're a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay. And so,
thank you.
Is that the first nice thing?
Am I the same gender now as when I went in?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll do some self-discovery in a little bit.
Cool.
So, all right. So
This has been a fun episode.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. All right. So
I don't either.
all right, to conclude my thoughts on critical theory.
Critical theory. Here we go.
All right. And so you and so you become an ally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the ultimate goal is so you engage, and as an ally, you're pushing for social justice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the end part is that justice actually has been served. Okay. But the unfortunate end part is that inevitably the goal has to become that the oppressed become the oppressor, and then the whole cycle starts over again.
Oh.
Because
It's like the circle of
right. Because
woke.
it's not actually fighting for equal rights.
Because there are no equal rights.
It's actually demanding that one group becomes less than the other. So it's actually asking for one group to step down from being the oppressor.
Mm-hmm.
But inevitably, the oppressed flip that role eventually.
Well,
And that's the logical outcome of it.
The smart thing to do is for the oppressors to switch sides right as they get even, and then go back up with the other people.
But you can't.
You could try.
I mean, I guess if you'd have to start identifying in a lot of different ways, though.
Oh yeah.
But you being a white male is going to be really tough for you to overcome that.
Oh yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So
this is why. Okay. So all of the things that you just brought up with critical theory and critical the other gender stuff.
Right.
All of that stuff. Like you just went on for a long time about it. I know I was interrupting, but
yeah.
But you seemed pretty fired up. About it.
Yeah.
So this is like
this is actually what's behind all the things we're talking about.
All of it.
Yeah. All of the gender, all of the
like even the take prayer out of school stuff?
No,
okay.
not that stuff, but the present day stuff that we're seeing with the questioning of genders and sex and sexuality and those kind of things. This is critical theory is what's behind all of this. So critical theory has been going on since following the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And it started in a legal way, but now it's eventually, and I won't go through the whole history of it, found itself in academia.
Uh-huh.
And this is what's being taught in academia, and now it has begun to trickle down into our public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, critical theory is the biggest issue I've got with public schools right now. Because critical theory is being put in a place. Do you think
most Christians feel that way?
I don't think most Christians have the language I'm using.
You mean know that what they're
talking
about
is critical theory? Correct.
Okay.
I don't think they have a clue.
But this is the stuff that they're mad about.
This is the stuff they're upset about.
Okay.
Yes. Like these are the driving, these are the driving topics, if you were, for Christians being upset. Like quit pushing this kind of stuff, which seems very upside down. And what I don't love about critical theory either is you're immediately labeled in a group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because again, based on the color of your skin or your sex or the gender you identify as or whatever. And so you're immediately thrown into a group. Okay.
Okay.
And so now we're having these group conversations instead of individuals taking responsibility for their own lives or you being labeled as something that maybe you're not. Like, so for example, it would be like, all right, so critical race theory, one of the basic tenets of critical race theory is that every white person is a racist.
Okay.
It's one of the 4 fundamental tenets of critical race theory is that every white person is a racist, whether consciously or unconsciously, they're a racist. Okay. And so that's what it's labeled as in a group setting, not giving individuals any ability to say, well, you know what? I know there's racism out there. I know it exists.
Mm.
but I'm not racist. But I would love to champion alongside of those who excuse me, who have been hurt by racism. I would love to champion with those who want to see racism, just removed from our society. Like, I mean, I'm for that. But the problem with critical race theory, it doesn't give individuals the opportunity to engage in those kind of ways, because you're just labeled a racist based on the color of your skin, right? And minorities are not seen as racist. And the reality is there's racism among minorities too. I know that sounds real rich for me as a white person to say that.
Yeah, racist.
I know. Now I'm coming off as racist.
Wow.
I know. But like, so some of my closest friends who are black would agree with me on this. And they would say, no, there's race. It goes both ways. And so, and then automatically, because you're white, you have white privilege. That's a fundamental tenet, right? Not only are you racist, but you have privilege. Well, I know a lot of white people that do not have privilege. And so I think the issue becomes, again, if you're going to, and what I would call indoctrinate our kids into critical theory, you're doing so, I think, in a really unhealthy way of viewing people and viewing individuals, and you're labeling them before you even know them, right? Like, so the idea of MLK saying, you're not going to be judged by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character, like, that's just been thrown aside. That doesn't even matter anymore. And so I think that's part of that is the issue that I have with all of this stuff being pushed into the public school system, is because it just seems like critical theory is taking over.
Into every subject.
Correct.
And everything that goes on there.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because even, you can't even discuss literature anymore without these things being at play.
Right. So evolution was like, just come home that day and we'll tell you it's wrong. But this stuff is, the whole school is, and it is into every subject and everything that they do.
Now listen, I'll be real clear. I'm not saying every teacher buys into this ideology.
Right.
Okay. Like my wife, make sure we're clear on this. Like, my wife was a public school teacher. Okay. And so.
Racist.
Well, she was white, so, but I want to make sure that I'm not saying every teacher has bought into this, I'm not saying every teacher buys into this at all. I'm not saying that. All I am saying, though, is it is making its way into the school systems. I mean, whole cities and states now are adopting curriculum that is completely based in critical theory. And that's coming into their schools. And it's largely, again, it's because if this is what you're exposed to in your undergrad level of this is what you're exposed to in your undergrad level of learning at college or university, or maybe you've gone to get in your master's in whatever field of education you have, and so therefore maybe you're exposed to it there, then if that's what you've kind of been exposed to and you believe it, then it's going to eventually trickle down into the public schools, and that's what's happened. It's been in the academy and the university level a lot longer than it has been in the public school level. It's just kind of finally made its way down there. And I think it's become, and then given social media's presence, it's just become commonplace, if you were.
So it's a beyond school problem. It's a society-wide problem.
Sure.
But it's just in schools, and that's where it started. Yeah,
I mean, I would say that in the United States, we've moved, like, there's been a shift from postmodernism to critical theory.
Okay.
Like, it's its own worldview. And I feel like that is, like, we've moved into critical theory.